Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 48 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 13 seasons under her belt, Ange.
Hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 5th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, folks? Happy to be here.
Welcome everyone to a new season. So if you're listening to this chronologically, we're in the midst of season 49 coming out. Depending on release order, we're probably about to finish season 46 with Survivor F, since Ange and I had already seen that season. And now we begin season 15, Survivor China. Before we get into everything we saw, we're breaking down episodes 1, 2, and 3. It's time to break some ice. F, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, the theme of Survivor in every season has been risks, taking risks and assessing when is the right moment to strike. So what are your thoughts on, within your social game, what do you think about having an unpopular opinion, or an opinion where you feel like others may not take it the right way, but it's something you have to get off your chest? Are you someone who'd be willing to be more direct and speak their mind, or take a back seat, hold their tongue potentially, and just try to fit in and not ruin any vibes with the rest of your tribe?
That's a great question. I'm definitely the person that just wants to blend in and cause less chaos. As much as I'm a chaotic person in real life, I rather not in this game of Survivor, where I feel like no matter what I got, unless it's like very, very big deal things, I don't think I'm going to try to be like trying to pick at anybody or try to rub anyone the wrong way in Survivor. That's where I would go. So I would just lay back, relax, and not just no, I don't need to cause any issues.
Do you, just to add on to that, do you feel like your approach would change over the course of the game? Because I think especially early on, that is something that people would generally be more mindful of. But do you feel like maybe as you get more comfortable with your tribe, that could potentially be subject to change?
Oh, that I think it's natural, human nature-wise, when you get more comfortable with someone, you're just naturally gonna feel more comfortable saying the things you wanna say that usually you don't want to, even
Right.
and you feel, like, comfortable enough to say something I guess not controversial, I wanna say, like, something off my chest that maybe you disagree in, but I think you'll respect it, but I think that takes a lot of in-depth knowledge of the other person and understanding. So it will take a lot of time, but if I think it's going to risk our relationship, what we build in, then no, because in Survivor, it's a short time, it is high pressure. I don't need anything small, any little thing I say to cause a like conglomerate like avalanche of people wanting to go against me. So I probably likelihood wouldn't want to cause any issues and don't want to do that even later on.
Awesome. Yeah. Well thought out
I,
response. What about you,
I
Will?
generally agree. There is a line of, like, I want to have my own strategic game in mind. So, like, imagine I feel like the vote should go one way, but people are disagreeing. How far am I willing to go to persuade them? Because one way to persuade people is to, give them harsh truths about somebody else. So now this is like talking behind someone's back. But if that gets out that I said that, well, I just said something blunt. So, and I didn't say it to their face. So that's probably bad. That's probably very, very bad. But if I'm successful, it doesn't matter if they hate me because I have the numbers. I'm going to put you out. Uh, I'd like to think with my own trusted ally, I can not have a filter. And then with everyone else, I do. But it's such a dangerous like line. Like if you go over the line at the wrong moment, it just ruins everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Yeah, I
How about
think,
you?
yeah, I just feel like, just as well as mentioning, it's one of those things where you have to maneuver around it a little carefully. And even I think about this early into seasons, right? When you're trying to build a strong first impression. And we see how it's evolved over the different seasons. Now we're going back to one of the more classic seasons of Survivor. But it's interesting to see, like, how do these dynamics form in the first episode? How do they translate into the second episode? And it seems like, at least more in the modern era, people tend to be they want to just get along. They want to be able to maybe not come across in the most genuine way, but just come off in a way that could be inoffensive. And I think it depends on which era that you're playing in. We as viewers kind of get to see everything. My own personal approach is I don't want to live my real life the way that I'm playing Survivor. If I'm playing Survivor, I have to bring out a different side to myself, right? So if in the real world, I might be a little bit more reluctant to say things. I want to be more agreeable to the crowd and things like that. I think if I'm in Survivor, I have to be cutthroat when I can be, but I have to time these things. It's not something where just right off the bat, take lead, do things. I need to know when to strike, and that comes up with, like having to survive that first day. Surviving the first day, more often than not, probability factors in that, like, if you're someone who has a good first impression, you're someone who others want to talk to, communicate with, that leads to what? Interactions, team building, things like that. So early on, I would say that I would want to be very not nice in the sense that, like, I'm just being nice for the sake of being nice, but nice in terms of just understanding what everyone's game is, trying to get everyone else to open up. I wouldn't want to like overplay my hand, reveal what I'm all about, reveal any like what of my strategy is going to be, but I want to make sure that the people that talk to me have enjoy my conversations with them. We have good vibes going. And then as the season progresses, it's not like it doesn't go beyond my mind that, like, people can vote me out, even people who I would consider a number one. You have to be walking on eggshells, and you got to come at it in the sense that, okay, how does that aspect of my game evolve? How does that social game evolve? So this is something I generally think about, right? Like what sorts of social strategies we see in each season and how do they evolve for each contestant. And I would like to say very simply, I would take a more conservative approach, more fit in type of approach early on, but I would definitely want to deviate and kind of separate and kind of stand out as we get later and later into the season, because I think personally that would take me the furthest.
Well said. We'll get into it, but we had a contestant take a version of your advice in to not make their opinions known at all, to not step on any eggshells, and that sure did not work out for him. But we'll
Absolutely. I mean,
talk all
that
about
that
that.
is an entire extreme, but it just goes to show you how many different variations of these strategies there are out there.
Mhm, mhm. And we're gonna talk about all those as we get into Survivor China. So I concealed exactly what we were getting into from both of you. I mean, maybe there's some context clues. I showed you the cast beforehand because I'm thinking if you were watching at the time, the cast comes out beforehand. People read articles about them. They pick their favorites beforehand. So from those, you might have deduced it was an older season, but in fact, it's season 15. It's also is in 2007 or aired in 2007, I should say. Um, and so not it's real pretty close to Cook Islands, which we watched previously. Very far from David versus Goliath, which is 37. And initial impressions as we get like an intro. Um, it's not a marooning, and it's not like uh everyone standing on the beach as Jeff introduces. Instead, Jeff is narrating what we're about to get into, and it shows everyone landing in Shanghai, and then getting on a train, and then getting on a truck, and then getting to this the temple and everything. So, what were all y'all's first impressions?
I was super hyped up about the location because us being in Fiji with the new era, it's always nice to go back to an old season where we're not in Fiji and we're like taking a look at somewhere else. So being in China is really, really cool and really awesome. The whole it really opens up quickly where Jeff goes like, "Hey, this is not religious, but we're gonna start up being like going to the temple. You know, this is a Buddhist temple." And I thought it was very I thought it was respectful in terms of what Jeff was doing. Some contestants it was funny because when I was watching, some contestants were respectful, and I was like, "Oh, they're being so respectful." And then right away, you see Courtney, like, just showing an attitude, don't know why she's doing it. Then you get Leslie, who's, like, crying and go very conflicted with her fate and what she's doing. So, yeah, I think it was different than the usual marooning or the moments like, "Hurry up, get out of this boat, you're gonna go with the things you have." So, I thought it was different, and I enjoyed it personally, and I kinda feel like they try to as I said before, I love the themes, and, we had the pirate theme, and right now I'm it's giving, a theme of, the Chinese culture, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, as can I. I feel like variety is the spice of life, and there's a lot of things where once you've seen enough of something, it starts to become a little boring. Not saying that we've seen enough Survivor. I certainly haven't compared to you two, but it's nice to get away from that more traditional like beach setting and get to see what other parts of the world are like. I remember just from like the first freeze frame we got to see the Great Wall of China, and immediately it's like, oh, are we like just in a completely different location? And lo and behold, we get started with the episode. The way it starts, as Angela was describing, was also quite different. And again, Jeff puts them in a situation where whatever you brought with you, you're not keeping that on your person. You're now in a position where you have to be surviving, right? With whatever's on your back, and sets them into two different tribes. But once again, we go back into the two tribe system. So nice to see that. Nice to see some changes there.
Right. What'd you think of the clothes on your back? The second time, surprisingly, the second time we've seen this because it's not like a thing that happens. I think like all the time.
It's we've seen it in the earlier seasons, so it's just not something we've seen currently in the modern era, or at least I haven't. But it's I like it. I like just the variety that it shows. That like not you can if you see a pattern in the start of every season of Survivor, then you're like, okay, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is what I anticipate is going to happen next. And this is just one of those things where it's like because we're in hindsight, we're looking back at all these previous seasons now that like almost 50 of them are out. You get to see, okay, this is where Jeff kind of threw a curveball and set things differently. So I liked it. I like being surprised, and this was a welcome surprise.
Absolutely. Now, kind of overall thoughts of things that are different. So you actually called one out. So this was not different for the time, but this is different for us, two tribes, because we've been seeing the three tribes of the modern, of the new era, and we had just watched Cook Islands, which was four tribes. This is also only 16 people. Usually there's either 18 people or 20 people, so it's actually a smaller cast in this season. Are we getting the sense that fewer tribes and fewer people is benefiting the watching experience, or is that something you noticed at all?
It's a good question. I think it's too early to judge. The thing that I would want to look out for is I want to know when I'm watching Survivor if I can get a good read on all the contestants playing Yang, right? Like you'll have seasons, every season really, where some contestants get more of the spotlight, the camera's on them more. Some people get eliminated, and you're like, I don't really know what this person was about. We didn't really get to see them too much. And it's bound to happen. Someone has to get eliminated, right? Day one, day two. But I would like to think that with less people, it allows you more of an opportunity to see what everyone's about. Now, mind you, the run times also differ, so that might not truly be as I anticipate, but I would like to believe like generally if there's less people, it allows you more time to focus on each of those individual people.
Yeah, the we're usually like nowadays, and actually for many seasons, the premiere episode is longer, but not the case. So, like, let's say back in the day, the episodes were an hour. with commercials, but then the premiere would be an hour and a half, let's say. But in this case, no, it was the premiere is an hour, just like every other episode is an hour. So less time, and some of that time was used for this intro part. So before we get to the cast, um, did you like when it was all said and done? Like, I guess probably like the first commercial break when we're done at the temple. Were you glad you see it, or would you prefer more time at the camps? Because I don't think anything like no strategy things come up in that whole segment. It's all like set dressing essentially for the season.
Hmm.
Uh, it's hard because I think at watching Survivor, you want the more set, like looking into them building their camp and all that stuff, strategy. But I actually kind of liked it because you kind of slowly knew what's going on with these people. Like in like current seasons, like Jeff goes through like you over there in the red. Why are you here? Or like what's your purpose? Blah blah blah. Instead, we got this where we got to kinda know a little bit. We got the non-religious, religious lady, Leslie. We got Courtney that was rude at that time. We got some people are just like, "Yeah, let's do it," you know? It's just it kinda in a way, it shows us as the viewer who they are already without us seeing them strategizing.
Yeah, if I could put my finger on it, I would say, and this isn't quite right, but it does give us a little bit of a like more behind the scenes look in terms of like rather than oh okay we're immediately splitting you guys up. If I'm trying to remember, it felt like if I'm comparing this to like season 48, for example, season 48 felt like it immediately got into everything, split up into tribes, got into the challenge like right away, like within the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yep,
In
that sounds right.
comparison, in comparison for this season, where we see them approach their location through train, right? We're seeing them ride on the train. We're seeing different, shots of cities and culture and things all around China and Shanghai. And that's nice to see. It shows you kind of a behind the scenes look before you're fully getting into the game. And I would include just, going to the Buddhist temple as part of that too. Yet at the same time, I I'm not sure why Jeff was making them do that. I felt like the parts where like give them the option to do that if they like, if it's something where it's going to come across as offensive for them or, the locals, like you you don't need to get into that.
Well, so not that we don't have all the answers here, but there is in the background of the entire season, this being the the first American TV show. Let me see if how it's described on the website because it's like the first show allowed to film in China. The season was said to be the first American show to be entirely shot in China, and there is behind the scenes where the representative from China is kind a little not and according to Jeff, not controlling anything, but just always present. So I imagine CBS wants to keep their hosts happy. So this was probably, if I had to speculate, like, look, we're in your area as a token of good faith. Like, we're gonna do one of your customs, like to show respect. That's probably part of where this came from. And then,
Which is unusual because Jeff did not really frame it like that. Because if he explained it like that, like that could make sense, right? Like rather, and you don't have to even talk about like, oh, this is what the executives are involved in. You could just say something like, oh, okay, we're in a foreign land. Before we get into it, let's take a moment to appreciate everything, show our respects. But like, that's not really how it came across.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was close to that. I mean, he didn't use those words. Instead used his time to reassure everyone like this wasn't a worship ceremony and everything. And um, but yeah, so uh, I think we should get into the cast now. So what I've done is I have both tribes and they're ordered by age. So we will go from the oldest to the youngest on both. If you have something to say about them, just speak up and the floor will be yours. So starting first on Zhanhu, the yellow tribe, we
Stands
have
for I think it means fighting tiger.
I believe you're right. Jeff did tell us, but we didn't pay attention. But I think you're right. Um, First, we have at 47 years old from Marion, Virginia, a chicken farmer, Chicken Morris.
Oh, chicken. Are we talking about, like, our initial, thoughts about them or just in general from what we're watching?
You could take it however you like.
Alright. It's funny because before we started this, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what kind of guy's named Chicken?" And he's a chicken farmer, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pick him as my winner, right? My hypothetical winner pick." And, Chicken, he disappointed me. My guy, I thought he would do better, and I thought he would be cooler, but he wasn't. That's my talk about Chicken.
So sad. The guy with all the answers, but chose not to tell anybody the answers.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, I get it, like, sometimes people, like, when you are constantly giving recommendations and they don't listen to you, that is frustrating, and you're like, "I'm done with this, no more." But there was one time, and you took that as a, "Alright, then I'll just shut the hell up, and I'm not gonna help you at all. I'm just gonna stand out there," and every time he's like, "What do you guys wanna do? What do you guys wanna do? Alright, okay." And it's like, "Chicken, this is part of your squad. This is your team. You gotta help out. Just because they're not like, they didn't listen to your first one doesn't mean you just stop. Doesn't make sense."
Sadly, stop heated. Next on this tribe, we have at age 37 from Simi Valley, California, a former model, Dave Cruser. This is our self-appointed tribe leader or co-leader, potentially.
Reluctant self-appointed leader. Very reluctant.
Y- yes. Leaders come up on both tribes, interestingly enough. But yes, this is one of the co-leaders here because the next person, uh, 29 years old from Marina del Rey, California, a jeweler, is Peih-Gee Law, who also ended up raising her hand at that one tribal council, saying that she'd be willing to be a leader.
Honestly, PG, at first, I was a little worried, but I think she's gotten a little bit better. She's gotten her little handle and where she's at in this tribe. In the beginning, she has this moment of, she's very emotional being in China. I think her grandfather unfortunately passed away weeks before that her being here. So it is very emotional and she actually like took over in regards to being the leadership, telling people to do, which didn't bode well, which it usually doesn't. Especially since I think she did cry a little beforehand too. But I think it was necessary. Someone had to stand up. They had no shelter. They had nothing. It was something they needed to do. So I'm very proud of PG. I'm very proud.
Very nice, very nice. Next, we have a 28-year-old from East Northport, New York, professional wrestler, Ashely Massaro. And we did talk about this before our latest session that she has sadly passed away since the airing. But she did show up a lot in these two episodes, and I thought most of the time was doing a good job. It's just it's tough being sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Ashley. As she was one of the few contestants, including in David versus Goliath, Johnny Morris, that I was actually familiar with just because back in the day I'd watch a little bit of wrestling here and there. So as soon as I recognized her on the screen, I was like, oh, yeah, isn't that the wrestler? So, yeah, very, very unfortunate to hear that. But, hopefully she was able to at least leave some sort of a mark.
I do feel like, at least based on the challenges we've seen, like she probably would have made that like maybe even the merge if it turned out that people had sided with her versus with Dave. But fortunately, that's not how it went.
Yeah.
Next, you have a 26-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee, a musician, Erik Huffman.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember him that well. I think
He had
he
like
hasn't made a big mark on me yet.
He had like two confessionals. He
And that
he
makes
tried
sense.
he tried to defend himself in the challenge from episode 3 against James and Jean Robert, but unfortunately, like, it's James, so that didn't go well,
Yeah, I don't remember much of him, but hopefully he comes in, makes some splashes, and I can remember
right?
him.
That could be good, like, in terms of predicting how well someone's gonna do, maybe
That's
being
true.
invisible is good, or invisible is like you're gonna do nothing the whole season. So,
Yeah, it's one or the other, right? Because if
it's
you're
tough.
too popular, it's like, "Ooh, I think you're gonna go." Because Chicken and Ashley were big parts of episode 1 and 2, and then they're gone. So,
Yep. Uh, 25-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia, an elementary school teacher, Sherea Lloyd.
Sharia,
Yeah.
you know what?
I
I don't remember much either.
well, it's that's another one where it's like it could be a good thing. She I don't think she currently has been as invisible as Erik has been, but she's the one that, as Angela was mentioning, that she had vibes about Chicken. This is the person who I thought that, she could end up having a good game just solely off first impressions, the personality described coming in. I felt, she has potentially the makings of someone who could work towards building good relationships, and I would like to see how her game translates. So she's been one of the people that I've keyed in on. I there's not much to go on within the first couple of episodes, but that could be a good thing. Like I said, I don't think she's been as invisible as Erik. There have been conversations with the girls that she's had, so she's doing a good enough job of being subtle. I in relative to Erik, I think better, but we definitely need to see more of her.
We definitely saw a lot of her at the tribal council where she just let Dave have it, and she was really going to bat for Ashely, and so that was the most we saw of her. Us spending like half of that tribal council just laying into Dave about everything he does wrong.
Oh, we got
Uh,
to see a lot of her during the mud wrestling too. Let's not forget that.
Also true. I mean, all the physical challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Next, 21-year-old from Columbia, South Carolina, at this time was still in school, a student. And this is Jaime Dugan. Jaime, who actually was surprisingly involved because not only did she start the season uh, when Jeff says, "Oh, you're just gonna be closing your back," she's like, "Oh, but I don't have a bra." And Jeff decides to be like, "Well, that's either gonna make you really popular or be a hindrance to the challenge," which is like,
That
all right, Jeff,
was
that's
so out of pocket, Jeff. Like, so 2020 canceling pocket. This is not, you can tell this is old core, like, if you can you imagine saying it now, being like, "You don't have a bra, they're gonna be very popular." It's like, what you trying to say, Jeff? That's kind of icky.
well, especially at, like, if she had been on the other tribe, I mean, that could have been an even more problematic situation.
Yes,
But,
ugh.
uh, but also, Jaden, other than that, she's also was someone who is possession of both of the idol clues, which is like we're gonna talk about too. So actually, she's kind of an integral part of a couple different things right now, which maybe you wouldn't have guessed from the outset. Uh, and last on the tribe, 20 years old from Chicago, Illinois, also currently a student at the time, Frosti Zernow, who at this time is the youngest contestant ever to be on the show.
That's pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
Not
impressive.
only imagine if this could be the potential winner, that
Yeah,
would be a record setting accomplishment, right? Winning all of Survivor at 20.
$1
Very
million
impressive to
at
add to your
20.
resume.
Yeah, for sure.
This is
But
also the parkour guy too.
yes,
He's
I don't remember him much either.
he's got a lot going for him. He's got some good relationships that he's been building. He's pretty observant. We did see in a challenge where Dave lost his footing, not even having to say anything, Frosti went up and just took over his spot and recognized that, okay, this is an area of weakness. It's where I can help fill in. So we've also seen him in another challenge kind of take the lead role. So it's, he's had moments where he has stepped up, and you like to see that.
Indeed. So in the end, that was Chicken, Dave, Peih-Gee, Ashely, Erik, Sherea, Jaime, and Frosti. Now we will go to the other tribe in red, Fei Long. So now starting with Denise, 40 years old from Douglas, Massachusetts, a school lunch lady.
I just love her mullet.
Yeah,
Just
that's the
just
only
love
thing I could
that's all I
think
have to
of.
say about her.
Yeah,
Just love the mullet.
I can't think of anything else. I
Yeah,
don't
see,
know.
Erik had those two confessionals, but Denise, I mean, I think she might have been our very first confessional talking in the temple, but after that, ugh. In terms of screen time, yeah, I don't know that she's the one
No.
thing that happened,
She fought
where
hard on one of the challenges. She
she
did.
did. She
She went
definitely did.
crazy.
And there later would be a confessional between James, well, not a confession, just James and John Rivera talking, where James seemed to indicate that he wanted John Robert to stay, himself to stay, and Denise to stay. Which is interesting that they include Denise, so she might be part of alliance. Though again, she's not there to speak for herself, so who knows if she even
It
wants to be
just
part of that
it
alliance.
just goes to indicate that she's probably a lot of her actions have been off screen, so we haven't gotten to see it, but it may indicate that she is pulling her weight. Like not only just in challenges, but maybe like around the camp. So
Sure.
yeah. By the way, Fei Long does mean flying dragon, which is very cool.
Flying dragon. Would you rather be a fighting tiger or a flying dragon?
Definitely a flying dragon.
I agree on that. The flying dragon does sound cooler.
But if you're a tiger, like, you fight people, like, sure, you're flying, but if you're fighting tiger actually, like, win fights even though actually that tribe loses, like, the first
But
three
like,
3,
Yeah.
so
if a tiger was to fight a dragon, it would get destroyed.
That's true. That's very true. You're
Yeah, I
right
guess.
on
Yeah,
that.
you got me there. Alright, so next, 38 years old from Peih-Gee, South Carolina, a Christian radio host, Leslie Nease.
Wait, did you say Tiga K? I'm familiar with that area. Been around there quite a bit actually this year. South
So
Carolina.
maybe
Okay.
you are in the same circles as Leslie. How often do you go to, like,
I
Christian
was just there a
radio,
couple
like,
months back.
talks?
Well, I was in Tiga K a couple months back. The Christian
Just let me
radio,
know.
not so much.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, she's the
Leslie's biggest thing is immediately telling us that she's not religious, although she could not go through with the Buddhist ceremony, and also has to tell us that she has a relationship with Jesus, but she's not
and she
religious.
and she's a
She
Christian
confused
radio
me.
host. It's like
Yes,
Yes.
in her
I
job
just
title.
I got so confused because she was like, "I'm not religious, but, she has a relationship with God," and I'm like, "Wait, how you can't be both, you can't be not religious and also have a relationship with God, you either are not religious or have no relationship, or you got a relationship and you're religious, and that's okay." But it's just the fact that she says that, I was, like, whiplashed, and
That
then
was
you find
yeah,
out she's a Christian radio host, and I'm like, "Wait, girl, what?" You gotta be religious. You have to be. You can't tell me you are. It's like me saying, I don't even know how she can be so. I don't know. She was all over on that. But I think Leslie, that was her biggest thing, was like, I got confused on what she meant on her religion. And then it just felt like she was not great on building relationships. It felt like everybody just had her. Um, it made about like us missing out as we like listen in regards to the vote and confessionals that she's considered like quote unquote the mom of the tribe, but she wasn't really respected as the quote unquote mom. It is the you're like a mom, huh? You're kind of annoying, like that. It felt like it was more like that, and yeah, I kind of feel bad because I feel like Leslie, she's how old she is? She's not like to the age of being moms to 20-year-olds, so it was kind of
38.
Oh my gosh. She's like, how could it's just kind of a I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I would say that, like, outside of Johnny and Dead Grandma, that being, like, the biggest lie in Survivor I've seen so far, like, 6, 7 seasons in, this is probably the second biggest lie, that, like, I'm not religious, and she
Oh, I
probably,
was
in
like, "Where
my
are you going with
opinion, is
this?"
the most religious person that I've seen so far.
Yes, but besides like current like season Shannon or something, you know? Um, but yeah, you're right. I agree on that.
I would probably even give her the edge over Shannon.
Really? I think Shannon
Yeah,
just preaches it way more though. Like you're just hearing it, you know, like it's all like part of the whole thing, like God, God put me here. Like I don't see Leslie doing that.
because could you see Shannon, like, choosing to not partake in the Buddhist temple, like, the opening ceremony part?
That's a good question on
I
that.
think she
I
probably would
don't know.
participate.
I think she would because she would be like down for it. Like, okay, okay. Okay, you got me there on that. Okay, I see it.
Part of Leslie's also is just her, like, the light returning to her eyes when she's on the other tribe and talking about other people who say that they're Christian too. Like, it just feels like she was missing the sense of community. Didn't she also say something like, "Oh, it's like a rough night, but if I just had my Bible, I'd be able to,
Yes,
Yeah,
I do
she wasn't
remember
talking
that.
about
get through
food,
it."
no shelter, convenience. She was just talking about the Bible,
Um,
which I'm
so
not saying that as a slight, I just mean that, like, that's her priority.
yeah. But okay, so that's Denise and Leslie. Next, 36 years old from Las Vegas, Nevada, a professional poker player, Jean Robert Bellande.
Ugh, he's disgusting and I hate him.
He
He's the worst.
he certainly took like a dramatic dip way down in the third episode.
I've never seen
I
such a disgusting
yeah,
person.
I've I didn't have good feelings from him, like, the second episode. I going into the first episode, I was like, "Oh, poker player." Very good vibes about him just in the first episode, and it just immediately went downhill after that first episode. Second episode, we see a strategy that he's trying to play, which to me does not seem the most sensible, where he's trying to come off as not doing anything, lazy, but, like, then he's telling people that that's not who he is. He's gonna essentially get that to throw people off his game and then strike himself when he can. He's anticipating getting far in the game by doing that, and then by the third episode, like, he's just making the girls around him in the tribe just very uncomfortable. He's someone who's, like, very touchy-feely, very direct, and which could be a good thing, but, like, I he just comes across as having a toxic personality based on what you see by the third episode. So, my opinion of him went downhill from, like, the first episode onward.
Nope, that's absolutely fair. In the third episode, we might as well just to get out of the way. John Robert essentially is like today we would just say that he's like essaying like his female tribe members because like not only is he trying to snuggle up with them at camp, but even Leslie is like, "Oh, like, get off," and, like, she has to walk away, and then Courtney is giving a confessional saying that she and Amanda, like, constantly, like, avoid him at night at all costs, like, very pro James even speaks up, like, "Hey, like, stop trying to snuggle, you're scaring the girls," which unfortunately just makes people laugh, so that was unfortunate, uh, so very problematic.
Yeah, it's very inappropriate, it's disgusting. It's not like current seasons, they are like they all sleep in the same place, but they, unless like, our your Candace ex, whatever his name is, what's his name? Andrew? I don't remember his name anymore. Guy that looks like give me Brad Pitt vibes. In the other season, it's like consensual where they're hugging and holding on to each other. But other times there are no like this type of that closeness of it. And when like if let's say you by accidentally fall, like when you sleep you might move a little bit, that makes sense. And you just tell them, "Hey, can you move over?" But it feels like you can tell that he's doing it purposefully, He knows that he is making these girls uncomfortable and he is doing it still. Like someone else is telling him that too. The two girls are telling him they're moving away from him. Another guy is telling him, and yet he still does it. that is SA for sure, and he should have been kicked out of it. Like, I am a little saddened. I guess I'm just saddened that this wasn't discussed, and I guess they I guess maybe they can't, maybe contractually they can't just be like, all right, you did something bad, you should pull out, and then just expect the other teammates to take him out. I don't know, but it's just very disgusting to see on screen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would take, like, 25 more seasons for CBS to realize that they should be intervening in these things, so,
Oh,
Wait, it happens
25.
again? It happens
yes.
again?
Yes.
No, Will.
Uh, and at least I mean, we're not gonna watch the season, so but
Okay,
the
good.
the it's horrible that it took that long because it brings up into question, like, these type of things, like, "Okay, this one was on camera, but are there other things in other seasons that are not?" And in the season where the offense happens that I'm talking about, um, the the people don't take the victim side, like the other castaways,
No.
and it's pretty terrible. That person does, like, bring it up to production, who gives the offending party a warning, and then
Oh, that's
upon, like, another complaint, they do remove him from the game, but
uh,
that, like, and it's not like episode 2, it's like episode 8.
uh,
Uh,
that's disgusting.
and, like and Jeff does his best at the reunion show to apologize to the person, like, he brings her aside, like, it's still a reunion, but it's, like, just them 2, like, it's a talk show to try to talk about it, and, like, he apologized on behalf of CBS and on the show, um, but a lot of criticism to the way it was handled, and therefore how it was handled every season before that, um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
that
but
when
is
it's put
just
to light, Um, 'Cause yeah, I mean, in Survivor, you're just there, everyone's hungry, everyone's weak, everyone's, like, tired, and then the girls, like or the guys, like, they're not wearing a whole lot, it's a lot of trust with these people, and it's so violating and scary to, like, not have backup 'cause you can't call 911, there's no phones, they don't have phones, they have the camera, and to have no backup from production standpoint is very scary and disheartening.
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I
now
mean, I was just gonna say that's unacceptable. Like, you're being put on a show. You're there to compete. Like that should not be allowed. It's unfortunate that it's taken what you're saying essentially season 40 seasons for them to get around that. So, I mean, on the plus side, based on what we've seen in the most recent seasons, like I haven't gotten those vibes from anyone. So, like,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
there's a hard line that you just do not cross there.
Mhm.
And, like,
yeah,
even worse, like, they have these guys on camera, so
I know. Yeah, to not bring us down so much on your own time, if you search up Dan from season 39, you will find out what happened. But um in this case, back in China, uh just as a base level, making everyone mad and then not correcting it, bad from John Robert. Like, aside from everything else, this is not good. Like, do not stand out in any way, and obviously not in a negative way, without having some kind of alliance, which at the time, he's not, because you guys are right. Usually, like, the first person to be eliminated is usually like, well, let's just find an excuse. So this is a very easy excuse to make. I mean, there's even like more innocuous things, just like he snores and Courtney is annoyed by it, which is a very silly reason to get someone out. But people will come up with any reason to target you. So you
right.
gotta minimize the things they could come up with to get you out, and that's not what John Robert's doing. He'll come up a bunch of times as we get to the episode. But moving on. 32 years old from Venice, California, a surfing instructor, Aaron Reisberger. Aaron, who ends up being voluntold to be the leader of Fei Long.
Yeah, he,
Aaron.
Another person who, despite his role, we don't see too much. I mean,
Mm-mm.
the biggest thing I can recall is, let's just say he gets a face full of Dan's junk in one of those challenges. Just complete face full.
Yeah, another problem. But, yeah, he also gets pulled into so, like, Amanda, pulls in Todd and wants to be an alliance, and then the 2 of them, based on Todd's idea, pull in Aaron to be their number 3, but they're gonna hype him up as if he's the number 1. The thinking being like, "Hey, in our alliance, if people ever don't like what we're doing, they'll think Aaron's our leader and therefore target him." This is what they're thinking.
I mean, it's kind of smart. That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, and also Todd is the one who even volunteers Aaron to be the leader at all, which Aaron in confessional says he does not wanna do, but it's tough. I don't know if there's a way out of that if because Todd's like, "Hey, I think" he's reading the art of by the way, Jeff, like, gives them both the Art of War, or at least, like, parts of it to potentially read if they want to, and Todd's like, "Hey, like, the Art of War, it talks about us kinda needing a leader, so Aaron, I've noticed that you're I think you would be a good fit, and I think you should be the leader." And at that point, I don't know if you can get out of it, like, it'd be awkward to say no, but, uh but yeah, Aaron's the leader now.
It's interesting how they're like, in this one, they put such a heaviness on who's the leader. And then that's always, like, a big thing of, like, "I don't want a leader," and, I just love how Todd just kinda throw him in as, like, the leader because it puts the heat away from him, but also was like, "Hey, it makes he feel like I wanna work with him and I trust him," and all that stuff, and I find that very strategic and very cool. I like it.
Indeed. Next, 30 years old from Lafayette, Louisiana, a grave digger, James Clement.
He
Muscle
just had
boy.
Yeah, he's completely jacked. Like, you have no doubts that any physical challenges, he's just gonna dominate. And on top of that, he has to have probably the best one-liner I've heard in all of Survivor so far, where someone asked him, "What does he do?" And he just says, "Oh, I bury people."
I bury people.
It's like, no explanation needed. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Which is amazing. Like, why would you even say that? It's amazing. Although to be fair, even if he said gravedigger, like, would we even know what that specifically is either?
No, definitely, like, what is the career path to becoming a gravedigger? But,
Amazing.
I mean, despite his figure, he's a pretty quiet person. He's not like some extroverted, like, in your face, like, uber competitive person. Like, he comes across as a sporty type, and if you're just stereotyping people who are, like, sporty and like that, that's generally what their personalities are like. So it's interesting that his personality seems to be a contrast. At least early on, he might just not be comfortable
Mm.
around people he hasn't spent a lot of time with. So, it might take a little bit to, get into his true personality, but at least within the first 3 episodes that we saw, he's a pretty quiet, reserved person.
Oh, yeah. I was actually hoping that Leslie James connection might blossom into an alliance, but it looks like at best that was like a friendship, but not an alliance.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And yeah, I agree with you. He seems like, and he has done so far, that like any physical challenge, he will crush you, dominate you.
Yeah,
So we'll
and
see.
fortunately for him, there's a lot of, like, wrestling-based challenges we've seen so far.
Yep. Next, 26 years old from New York City, waitress Courtney Yates.
Courtney was interesting because in the first episode, she already comes in pissed off. She's annoyed with everybody. She don't like nobody. She's already annoyed. Like, her eyes are just if eyes can stab someone, that's her. Like, everyone she's staring at everybody down. Like, she hates them all. But I've come to like her on our third episode when we saw her, and I've come
Really?
to Yeah, I've come to be like, "Hey, I appreciate I see her." I feel like she is just I don't know, in the beginning of the first 2 episodes, she was just rough, like, rough around the edges, doesn't work, but I think her and Todd, they could work out. I feel like they could work out if they work together. So I kinda was like, "Okay, I see you, maybe."
Yeah,
They're
well,
the Munchkins, according to
Yes, the
what are your
Munchkins.
what are your thoughts on the New York City girl? Are you getting those vibes from her?
New York City girl. I mean, there's definitely the vibes, although I think she's actually, like, grew up in Boston, so enemy territory. But she's currently, at the end of this season, working in New York City. Um, I do like 'cause, like, sometimes she says, like, "I'm a New Yorker." Like, I don't usually, like, hang out with lunch ladies and flight attendants, Christian radio hosts. So, like, alright, like, speaking for, like, all of New York City, but alright then.
Just yeah, I mean, just completely different location wise to where she is today. Just the concrete jungle compared to kind of in the foresty islands of China,
Honestly, crazy that she's even here.
right?
We'll see how long, uh but I mean, she hasn't I mean, she's you can tell I think you can tell, like, she's struggling, but she's not complaining to other people necessarily.
No, I respect that. She's mentally in the game, which is impressive.
Now we'll see how things progress. So far, she is rivaling Sandra from season 7 as, like, worst challenge performer, both in sitting out all the time and not doing anything in the challenge she's actually in.
Yeah,
Apparently, doesn't matter. You can win Survivor despite that.
That's a
for
great point.
sure.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And now the youngins on this tribe. So first, 22 years old from Pleasant Grove, Utah. Officially on the website, a flight attendant, but as Jeff had the need to point out, a gay Mormon flight attendant, Todd Herzog.
I love how he specified that and king. But I also love when he was talking about him being a flight attendant and the other guy was like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Why would I lie about
Oh,
being a flight
oh,
attendant?"
that's
It
Jean
was like,
Robert
I
again.
know, and it's just like, why would you I mean, first of all, if I was like thinking he's lying to me, whatever, lie to me, I guess. Who cares, you know? I'm not gonna call him out though. I just met this guy, you know? And but it was just hilarious to see that interaction. I feel like Todd is pretty good. I feel like he's in a good spot in regards to who he's connected with. He might not be the strongest dude, but low key, I feel like he's got good things. Like he knows about we'll later on talk about like Leslie's hint about the idol. So I think that's a really big thing that nobody knows, and I don't think anybody knows on the tribe besides Leslie, who's gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think early on, like I wouldn't have said this after the first episode, but by the third episode, he's definitely giving winner vibes. Like he's playing a smart game. He's
Mhm.
communicating with multiple people. He doesn't
Hmm.
we I like you talk about the challenges that he's setting out, but like we've not really seen like we haven't seen the impact that he can have on challenges. In fact, the challenge that he was part of, they did win. So like I generally look for people who play a good balanced game, and he's the first person so far that comes to mind that's kind of hitting all those boxes. So
For
he's
sure.
one to watch out for. I think, he has the makings of a really good survivor.
I agree. I agree.
I think what's interesting is that both of you noticed that multiple people have approached him, but their reasoning is like he's devious. Therefore, I do want to work with him. Except for Jean Robert, who thinks he's devious, but then didn't do anything about it. Like neither was against nor with him. So that's kind of weird. But
I know,
like
it's like,
Amanda expressed
okay.
that opinion. Leslie too, because that's why Leslie shares the clue with him. So it is interesting. Like
It's
an observation that sometimes would hurt you. Like, oh, we need to get
well,
him out. For now,
well,
is
the
not hurting him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I think he has a winning formula because people have that vibe about him, but despite that, they're working with him, and at the same time, they're underestimating him. He's not included in challenges because they're just looking at his stature and they're like, "Oh, like he's we don't need him for these challenges."
Yep, yep. And okay, last but not least, also 22 years old, but a little bit younger, from Los Angeles, California, a hiking guide, Amanda Kimmel.
I feel like Amanda, I don't know her that well, but she did play some really good games on, like, her challenges. She's good at challenges, I feel like. Um, in terms of relationships, I think she's okay right now. I don't see her yet right now. I don't know. Right now, I don't really know her as well. All I remember is that her mom's gonna kill her, and that's all I got.
Yeah,
She did
not
get the
much to
ball
add to that one.
rolling with I think I'm trying to think chronologically what we saw, but she might have started the first alliance of the season because she approaches Todd. Now, granted, I don't know how, I guess that's more of a we don't have that many alliances yet specifically, but there is that. Like, I don't know how far along the line, down the line she's thinking, but like, she did do that thing. But there is Fei Long. So that was Denise, Leslie, Jean Robert, Aaron, James, Courtney, Todd, and Amanda. So it is my hope that with fewer people, we'll get an idea of at least the character on the show that they're playing at the very least. Like what the show wants us to know about them. And as time goes on, we'll get something for everybody. I think that the biggest exceptions right now are Denise and Erik for sure. So we'll keep an eye out to see if they get anything else. Um, but all right, so now let's get into the specific episodes, some of which you've talked already. So, episode 1, which was called "A Chicken's a Little Bit Smarter," which I actually could not find when that was said, but maybe it was off camera.
I feel like it's probably chicken that said that, but maybe that's a bad guess.
Oh,
Well,
sounds about right.
I'm
Eh.
thinking it's an insult, like someone saying like a chicken's a little bit smarter than chicken.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it would be like chicken saying that, being
Oh,
like,
you know what?
chickens are smarter, you know? I didn't think about that.
That's probably PG then, because
I wouldn't be
she's
surprised.
yeah, she's the one who was just talking to him. But yeah, let's get into that episode.
Yeah, so we already talked about kind of like the intro. Everyone's at the temple. Leslie can't do it. Courtney is already complaining. The monk has to like keep getting her hands in the right position and everything. Then Jeff announces that they're only gonna have the clothes on their back, which sucks for some people. Even like Ashely points out that she has like 20-pound boots on,
Oh
which I
my
guess
gosh,
is
yeah.
just sucks to suck, I guess. Sherea's wearing heels, so again, this does seem to penalize the women now that I'm talking it through.
It
Uh,
does.
so that is unfortunate. Now they would be handed back their running shoes later, and I wonder if they're like, "Oh no, we didn't realize the implications. Let's just give it back to them because
Yeah, I feel
they
like
gave it to
not
them for a
having shoes.
challenge." And then,
Yeah, because you see one girl, I it was a Sherea who had like high heels or kitten
yeah,
heels, and then had to like walk barefoot, and it's just like, ah, come on, it's already a bad start, and like I get wearing the clothes they brought in, but the shoes, poor Ashley with the boots that were ginormous and probably like as she said, really heavy, that would stink.
yeah. So they go back on that, which I think maybe there's some people like, "Oh, they're babying them," but no, I think this is fine. Give them their shoes.
Yeah, shoes, not the clothes, just yeah, it's all good.
Um, we'll eventually when they're on their 2 tribes, we see the first couple interactions, including what you guys talked about, Jean Robert just approaching Todd, and you're like, "Are you really a flight attendant?" And be like but also saying, "You know, I don't know what it is, I just think you're devious." Which
It's just
why? Like,
yeah,
if that's how
why
you
would you say
feel,
that?
why are you telling them? If it's not how you feel, why are you just saying stories? Um Like,
It
I probably
doesn't
would've
make
liked it better
sense.
if he did what Amanda did, like, "I think you're devious, therefore we should work together, like, build an alliance," but he kinda just left it at that and kinda walked away.
Yeah, it feels like it's like, "Oh, you're devious. I'm watching you. I'm not gonna work with you." That's what it felt like, and I'm gonna be like, okay, then I don't wanna work with you. Like, why would I want someone to think I'm devious and don't wanna work with me? It doesn't make sense."
This is when we get the Courtney quote, which is, uh, "Sorry, I'm easily irritated. I seem to be sorta marooned in a land of, like, flight attendants and Sunday school teachers. Like, come on, I live in a city. People who live in New York don't act like this."
Which is
So,
funny. I'm like, "What does that
less than
even
a day.
mean?"
Less than a day, and Courtney's done with this.
Well,
Uh.
clearly Courtney did not realize what she signed up for.
And then on Zhan Who, their drama is like how they're building the shelter in the beginning, and this is so specifically the chicken situation. So people are starting to pick up like probably like old, like I don't know if it's rotting, but it's just like pieces of wood that happen to be there with the intention of using it as part of the shelter. And chicken suggests, well, that's not gonna help us because it's not gonna be strong enough, it's too small for all of us. They ask what he wants to do, and he suggests, "Let's build something." But everyone else is like, "Well, that's fine, but why don't like, we're already holding this, why don't we use this as part of building whatever we're gonna build?" And this is when Chicken leaves a confessional that he's like, "Well, I tried to give my opinion, clearly they're not willing to take my stuff into consideration, so I'm done suggesting things."
He was done. He said, "Oh, you didn't listen once? Alright, I'm out."
Yeah, this is like the maybe taking it too far of what you were saying. So part of what Chicken is doing is I don't want confrontation. I don't want to tell people they're wrong, so I'm just gonna say nothing and off contribute nothing. Like he's gonna physically help. Like if they tell him to do something, he'll do it, but he's not gonna suggest a plan.
Yeah, and I think if you have any level of self-awareness, you know what the issue with this is, in that no one needs to be babying you, like, it's the first episode. So, like, you're supposed to be coming in, good attitude. You might butt heads with people, but, you're about to embark on this new adventure. You don't wanna get into, like, you don't wanna be getting into, like, fights with people, but, like, you also are there to play your own game. You're there to help out whenever you get the chance, and to shut yourself off because one conversation didn't go your way. You're just kind of you're just jumping off the deep end there. And the thing that you don't want to do is like deal in absolutes, that like, oh, this happened, so I'm never going to do this, or this happened, so I'm always going to act this way. So I just don't think that's a winning formula. I think you take each situation for what it is, but you be open minded about things. And I think y- it shows a little bit of ego there, and immediately that's something that can lead to your downfall, as it did for Chicken.
Yeah, and in fact, they fail to finish their shelter and they get drenched overnight. In fact, there's like a scene of them all standing together underneath like the one structure, which I think was like a pre existing arch type of thing. And that had to be so uncomfortable and just cold and miserable, exhausting. In the aftermath of that, uh, we do see the beginning of Ashely starting to really struggle. Like she looks really, really sick. Like at one point she's like curled up in the fetal position, just like, oh, like that looked tough.
Yeah, that's rough. I can't imagine being sick while being on Survivor. When you're sick, all you wanna do is lay in a bed and sleep and, be warm, and her feeling all sick and have to lay in, like, the ground. It's just tough. It was a tough watch seeing that. It just stinks, and I think that her teammates didn't like, one person came up, who was it that came up to her and be like, "Hey, you're not it doesn't mean that you're done," or anything like
Oh,
that,
that's our
or
good friend Dave.
Dave. Dave,
who
Dave, Dave.
who wasn't the
Yes.
s he wasn't the star yet 'cause the attention was on Chicken, but Dave's storyline would continue through these episodes.
Yes, yes, and I thought that was a sweet moment, but it was sad because that was not it though, because they actually did dock her on not doing anything, and that was one of the reasons they would have thought about voting her out or voting her out eventually, which stinks. Your one day when you were ill and not feeling the greatest, that was like docked on you, you know? Like they were like, "Yep, you were not feeling good, but you didn't do anything." Like it's like, "What?" So, it just sucks for that. I felt bad that she was ill. But she pulled it together really well. I think the following, like, time when they were doing their challenge, she was all good again, so that was nice.
Yeah, she seemed good to there's even a nice shot, like, they're walking to this first challenge, and she's actually the one holding, like, their flag in the beginning when they're, like, leaving camp. So, that was nice. Um, I also thought this is where and he Chicken does a little bit of it, but he really still doesn't change his attitude because they all were in a miserable night. That probably is a time when someone else would be like, "Well, see, I told you so. You guys ready to listen to me?" Which, that's gonna make
Mhm.
people mad too, but that's a different way they could have played out. Instead, Chicken continues just offering nothing.
This it's just so weird because I would expect I actually thought Chicken would be, like, coming out to, like, "Hey, I told you, like, you guys should listen to me and do this and this and that," but he just ended up not doing anything, and it's like, how do you think it helps at all? Like, when was it when Chicken realized, "Hey, I should help out," or when was it where he's like, "Alright, this is enough. I should stop being an a-hole about this and actually help them out?" You know, I just don't know when the threshold hole was gonna happen.
Apparently was never. Um, but alright, so that brings us to our first challenge, which was both reward and immunity. The reward, uh, was basically fire. Like, you're gonna get flint if you win this challenge. This challenge was called the Dragon Dance, uh, where each tribe is holding up this, like, really long and big, uh it's like a puppet essentially, but it's huge. It's like one's supposed to be a dragon and one's supposed to be a tiger in theory, but it's basically like long tubes essentially, and it held up by poles. And as in a tribe, all of you are gonna walk through a maze, uh, and the person in front is gonna have certain tasks to do. Like when you get through the maze, like first of all, they're leading you through the maze. I think this maze probably only had one. Like, I don't think you're gonna get lost in the maze. It's just like forcing you to turn left and right, but there's probably only one way to go. And then the person who is in front has to unclip and then run over some obstacles like a tall wall and jump and bring down like open the passageway, come back, and then once you get everybody through it with your dragon or your tiger, depending on which tribe you are, then you have a puzzle, which is these poles you're holding. The bottom of them go into slots on the ground, which are in different shapes, and the shape has to match like your poles, like the end of the pole shape. And first time to do that would win. Now, both of you, your challenge for the entire season. This is going to be careful what you wish for the whole season. You're going to compare every single challenge to obstacle course plus block puzzle. Because part of why another a reason I picked this season is I think there's a lot of challenge variety. So we'll see how many of them you prefer over the usual obstacle course plus block puzzle.
Yeah,
So starting
I
this one,
like
what do you
it.
think?
I like a mix of stuff. I thought this one with the dragon and the maze, I liked it a lot. I thought that was cool. I like how it's themed because, with Chinese culture, it is with the dragons. And I think that you said that there was dragons and there was the lion as what they were
The
holding.
tiger.
But the tiger, sorry. And then how they were holding it is similar to in like Chinese festivals, that's how they would hold the dragon. It usually is a dragon, I believe. I think there might be a tiger, but I'm not 1,000% sure. But anyways, they hold it like that, and it was cool to see. I love a themed challenge. I just love it. Well, I can't say it enough. I love it.
Yeah, it's one thing where it's like, if this is how they're starting the season, like, is it you don't want them to then just go back to something where it's like just original Survivor challenge. It's like, while they're setting the bar high with this first challenge, are they going to look to top it with every following challenge? Is it something where we're going to continue to see them push for more and more thematic challenges? I would say, looking at what happened in episode 2, episode 3, we do tend to see a little bit more than that. We don't see too many challenges where you're like, oh, okay, this other season of Survivor, I recall this challenge being the same as this other one. So I, uh, as Andrew's saying, I also like variety with these challenges. So fitting with the theme, the culture of China, I think it's cool to see it throughout the season.
I do have a criticism, which is, at least as a viewer, it did seem to really be Frosti versus James still, like the two people in front. Now I understand, like, everyone does need to hold it up, so, like, if someone collapses, then it stops the whole thing, but, like, you're seeing just the 2 people in front, and then they're the ones running to go over these, like, jump on these walls and everything, which Frosty was great at that, like, which makes sense, parkour. James also is really good too, so, both of them I think were good. But, I do like everyone being involved, ideally. I think that's my one criticism of this one, but enjoyable. And it is Fei Long, the red tribe, that would win, uh, this challenge, which is gonna send John Hu to tribal council. So the situation seems to be, that Chicken has got attention. Oh, because when they come back from this challenge, like, so Dave gives, like, a talk, like, which sums up to, we should hold our heads up high, we're still a tribe. PG kind of affirms that, but also starts saying, like, and I think we should really work together to, like, get all our, like, tasks at our tribe done. It's like building
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
And this leads to some people being annoyed at her now. I think this is one of the 2 Erik confessionals where he's like, "Yeah, PG just suddenly trying to boss people around."
Yeah, I think that, as a viewer, you want that because it's pretty cool. It's nice to have someone that is, taking charge because it's clearly they don't have shelter, they don't have a place, they're not doing well, like, morale is low in this place, you know? The guy that may have the most, like, background, Chicken, doesn't even wanna help out or input anything. So, it's nice, but as a player going in there, I would not wanna be where PG is. I would be, "No, no, 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 you will not get me there because I don't want the attention on me," as I said before. I like to stay low, go slow. Nope. If all my tribe ain't doing anything, I'm not doing anything. I'm not gonna order them around to do things.
That's tough because, like, that means, because I'd agree with you, but that means, like, we will continue to freeze at night with no shelter.
Yes, and I hope when somebody's gonna suggest, maybe I would do a gentle, be like, "Hey, maybe we should work on getting our shelter," or "Hey, like, do you think we should start doing this?" And have someone lead and be like, "Yeah, we should. Why don't we do this?" I'll be like, "Yeah, let's go."
It just goes to show you how difficult of a job it is being a leader, right? Like, there's so many things that can go wrong, and you're the person to blame if they go wrong. So you could start to see why so many people are reluctant to take that role. You essentially make yourself a target. I mean, how many leaders are you going to see in Survivor where things are just on the up and up and the leader tends to get the credit? It's just not going to happen. But like, the minute something goes wrong, or even if it doesn't, there's internal disputes, everyone looks to blame the leader. So it's just a tough position to be in.
I think it's a lose-lose. Like, imagine things are going great and you're the leader, but now, in terms of threats, like, you look like a great survivor. So now, if I need to vote as a threat, I think I'm gonna target you, the leader, like, at the merge.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any scenario where it's good to be the leader. Uh, and at this point, there is none. I mean, there's people speaking up, which is, I guess, just PG, but there's no official leader. Also, Dave and Chicken want to get out Ashely. because they feel that she is not going to be able to help them long term in challenges. Which she looked really, really weak the first 2 days while she was sick. The third day, which is the current day for them, she does look better. But I do understand, like, what if she gets sick again? Like, who knows if she gets sick again or how long it takes for her to recover fully? Because she looks better, but she's probably not 100%. So how long until she gets back to 100%? So I kind of understand that too. So that means at tribal council, it's between Chicken, Ashely, and PG. And I think the main thing that happens at this tribal council is uh because PG makes a comment about not getting the shelter done, or no, she makes a comment about they did get the shelter done, but then Chicken speaks up to say that it took them 2 days when it should have taken them like half a day. That's when Jeff ultimately is like, would anybody does anyone want to volunteer to like be the leader? Which Dave raises his hand and then PG raises. Well, they kind of they Dave is first and PG second, but Dave is behind PG, so PG wouldn't know if Dave raised his hand. Because I wonder if she would have raised her hand if she saw Dave already do it. So in theory, they are going to be the two leaders if they survive. We go to the vote. There's one vote for PG, two votes for Ashely, and the rest, 5 votes for Chicken. And we get an iconic Chicken quote,
Oh, that's incredible.
which, I mean, maybe as legendary as season 46 Jelinski in terms of first episode boots, just for that.
Mhm. Amazing.
Uh, uh, would you guys want to see Chicken again?
Uh, no.
Quick and easy no for me.
That's too good.
Chicken
I
is out
think
of room.
I think this is one where you also would factor in the age because he's what you said like 47, and
Yeah.
he would be in like his late 60s if he was trying to compete again.
Yeah. I mean, not impossible.
It isn't, but you know, you shouldn't be taxing your body like that in a game like Survivor at that age.
Especially now where like Jeff's trying to make it as hard as possible, like forcing them to starve.
Weather's
But
rough. I mean, and also like you get bit by sea crates for no reason. My
yeah,
man
well,
chicken
that's
can't handle that. No, I'm kidding.
okay. So that ends episode 1, which brings us into the second episode, which was titled My Mom is Going to Kill Me. Spoken by Amanda. So we have the aftermath of the vote, which is basically Dave beginning his power trip because now he he says he's a reluctant leader, but I don't know, he's very now eagerly like embracing this role where he he wants to give everyone orders of what to do. To be fair, at Tribal, like it was a point that a problem has been that no one's willing to do that. So this could be a good thing. PG also assisting as I think Erik calls PG like the number 2. Um, but essentially both of them are leading. And Dave ends up this happens the whole episode. He has this pet project where he wants to build a fire pit. And
No.
which requires moving all these stones across and clearing the area, and it's like a very long and arduous process. And the main contention is that he wants to spend all of their time doing this when some other people would either A, not do it at all, or B, can we take a break to use the flint we just got to make a fire that's not in the fire pit so we can cook our rice or anything else. And then when we're done with that, go back to your fire pit. But Dave will not have it.
I don't know why he was so, like I don't know why he was so stubborn about it.
Uh, yeah, I mean, not much to say here. It's something where like he's probably thinking of it in the sense that we need something sturdy that's better for the long haul, and rather than taking any short-term wins, he's kind of looking further ahead. Is it the right approach? I mean, who can say? But given the weather conditions, like, something positive can come out of taking that approach. It's just that, like, there's obvious consequences to focusing your time and efforts into doing that when you could be doing other things.
But there's also just the way Dave's doing it. So he's like, as deliberation starts to begin and people offer what they want to do, he kind of shuts it down and says, "Hey, I don't want us to talk about what we're gonna do because that takes up too much time. We just have to do it." So rather than which there's part of that you understand. That's the classic analysis paralysis where you think about something for too long. But it does come across as like no one else gets an opinion. I'm deciding what we're doing, and we
Yeah.
can't discuss it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'll definitely rub people the wrong way, and it's like I said, it's a tough position to be in as a leader if, if he's feeling like he has to make an impact in the role, like, he's that's the thing, like, how do you not overplay your hand? If you're too passive, people are gonna be like, "Are you even the leader?" Then, like, it's as you're saying, there's not a situation you can win, it's a lose-lose battle.
Yeah. Now it will turn out that later in this episode, it must have like rained crazy hard because this tribe will come back to their camp and it's like flooded. Everything is soaked except for the fire pit, which had been completed, which means because the fire pit's well, it's like a fire pit, but it's stones in a square
Mhm.
around a patch of dirt. So if the water can't get past those stones, that means that that patch of dirt is dry, and everything you put in there is dry. So now you have dry stuff to make fire with in that spot. So it seems like a good thing that they finished that fire.
Yeah. Doesn't, doesn't, get away from the fact that Ashley and Dave continue to just butt heads on just about everything.
Yeah, that starts becoming a problem, and apparently Ashley from the unaired, voting confessional, Ashley was all on board for Dave to be the leader. In fact, she voted against Peih-Gee. Essentially, it came across like for daring to step up as leader when Dave obviously should be our leader. That's the impression that Ashley was giving before. But now, she's real frustrated with Dave. Like every single time they talk, it ends up being a fight between both of them. What's helping Dave though is that PG for now is backing up like his plans, so he at least isn't alone on this. Because meanwhile, on Fei Long, this is when the master plan from Jean Robert we talked about comes up, which is intentionally be as lazy as possible to build up that impression of him. And then later on is when he'll actually kick into high gear and actually be useful, which will gain him something. I'm not really sure what the end game is, but that's what he's doing, which is just an odd strategy. But you know what? Just like Dave, perhaps Jean Robert's cooking with this. We'll have to wait and see.
It's
Um,
just puzzling.
Yeah. So and also on and then on John Who, the girls start talking to each other, starting to build up a desire to vote out Dave, or at least like make him not the leader because they're getting fed up that they're not eating. Because I can't stress this enough. They now have flint. They could make fire to cook food to give them energy, but they are choosing not to do that in order to build this fire pit. So because of that, they go into this challenge still starving because they have not cooked anything. Um, and the first challenge is a reward challenge, which was for fishing gear. It was called Chinese checkers. Uh, so this is the one that Jeff releases like this big wooden ball that rolls down a hill. It ends up in the mud, and then uh, the tribe has to fight to get one of those balls and push them across the line. Like super rugby in the mud, basically.
Basically,
Uh,
mud wrestling soccer kind of thing.
see, tell you
Yeah.
rugby. That's
This one was more violent than I thought it would be. Way more aggressive.
oh yeah, and in this case, it will be the women versus the or no, it was mixed actually. This was this mixed challenges, right? Like men and women were together.
Yes, yes, I think you're right, yes. And they're, like, holding on, everyone's, like, holding on to each other, pulling each other's clothes. It was it was hectic and scary.
This is when I think ultimately it was Sherea, but everyone was grabbing at everyone. But this is when Amanda's top is pulled off, and so she ignores that, is able to run to one of the balls and push it over the line to score the point, and so she's like, "Oh, my mom's gonna kill me."
Yeah,
Title
that
drop.
was yes, title drop. Yeah, that's crazy. Because people are just, like, I think it's, like, Leslie that you said you Leslie that pulls, you said? So
I think it was
it's just
Sherea.
sure, yeah, I just feel like there's a line, and I guess this line is doesn't matter for for this. And, it's just a lot being pulled, and then you see, James just go crazy. He's just one guy going after like, he can fight 2 people have to go against him to even, like, hold him back a little bit. It's incredible. He is so strong.
Yep, yep. So Fei Long wins this challenge as well. It turns out that the twist is that they get to kidnap a member of the other tribe until the next challenge. They pick Jaime, and Jaime gets a mysterious tube, and it turns out in the tube is a clue to a hidden immunity idol. But Jaime has to give that clue to someone on Fei Long's tribe, uh, and like this idol is on this beach, so not so that this clue is not for the one that's in her beach. She would end up giving it to Leslie, and Jamie tells us that her reasoning is she thinks Leslie is the weakest, so she wants to give an advantage to the weakest. Hopefully that person stays in and weakens this tribe long term. And maybe they elect each other too, as possible. They are both Christians after all.
I guess it made sense. I feel like you wouldn't wanna give it to the strongest player there because then they'll make them stronger, and I think that would backfire. So I feel like it makes sense. Do you guys also agree on that?
I would have a hard time picking. I just don't have a read on what the other people are like in that tribe. So I like her strategy of just there being an end goal on this is how I'm associated with the person, or I'm not just choosing like the strongest person. But I mean, I think you could try to rationalize it however you want, depending on what sort of play style you have. So for her, that works for her.
There's probably there's probably three ways. There's the way you just both described. You could also try to guess not who's the weakest, but who's gonna get voted out next. Like who's on the outs, which might be the same person, but maybe not. Like remember, Aaron and John Robert get in a fight that Jamie witnesses. So Jamie could have interpreted that as John Robert is on the bottom, therefore I'll give him this just to
Mm,
basically
yeah.
ensue chaos. Um, And then the other way would be to, like, try to build an alliance with somebody, like, "I wanna work with you." That's kinda what happens by accident, as we'll see in the next episode, because then Leslie brings or Jaime brings Leslie to their tribe, but, um, I think all those things are fine. Leslie opens up this advantage. It says some cryptic things, which essentially is like, "It's hidden in plain sight," is what she
What does that
surmises.
mean? I'm so curious. What does that mean? I wanna know
Uh,
now.
well, okay, so do you guys think you know what they're trying to get at with these clues?
I think if they say it's hidden at plain sight, it means it's really obvious. Like it's right in front of them or somewhere they're seeing all the time, like at camp or at their sign. Or I know that they have these like like in front of their I think not their flag or near their flag maybe. Like it's so in front of them you could just completely not realize it, but I also don't know.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
also will be just as confused.
Yeah, I guess you
Uh,
have to look at it in terms of like where do they most commonly like where are they most likely to always be, like whether that be in camp or who knows, potentially meet maybe even in a challenge location. Like it's hidden somewhere that like you just know that they're around, like, and it's just up to them to find it. And I mean, if this was like any other season, I would probably say it's like maybe like at the start of the beach somewhere, like as they're entering their camp, because like you enter and exit the camp all the time. It's what you always see.
mhm.
I don't know what that translates into in this location, so it's kind of hard to say.
And in fact, Leslie feels the same way. She doesn't really know, but she goes the extra step. Her logic is, "I don't really know, so, let me bring somebody in who I think has a better chance of, like, knowing." And she shares the clue with Todd. So, I mean, this could have been the potential start of a different alliance between Leslie and Todd. Unfortunately for Leslie, Todd's attitude is like, I don't know why she shared it with me, but I'm happy to have the knowledge." And you know what? Leslie's looking a little sick nowadays. If she goes, all the better. Then I'm the only one who knows about this. So, a
Is
little harsh by
mean,
Todd.
but yeah, very, very harsh, but I very strategic. And again, very smart. And for Leslie to trust Todd, to ask Todd about it is a big deal too.
Yep, yep. The immunity challenge was called Gate Crasher. So this is where both tribes are holding this really long puzzle log, is what it's, or like Jeff called it, a Chinese puzzle log. But it's basically you're going to use it as a battering ram to smash through two of the gates, and then when you're past that, you're going to put that puzzle log. It kind of has these grooves in it, like in the shape of a maze along this battering ram. And so in the puzzle, when you slide it around, you have to rotate it so that like the one spike like goes down the maze basically in your thing. And when you get it completely through, you can ring the gong and you win. So pretty straightforward. The main thing is that Dave seemingly runs out of energy, like really struggling because he's like in the front. So Frosti switches with him. They catch up a little bit after that, but it is not enough. And it's Fei Long that wins again, their third challenge in a row, their second immunity challenge in a row, sending John Hu back to tribal council. So you have another challenge here. Actually, you didn't say it for the previous one. Both of these challenges, do you prefer them or do you prefer obstacle course plus block puzzle?
I'd probably say obstacle course plus block puzzle
For which one? Or both of them?
for both of them.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. I kind of I prefer this one, the current one still. The one that's like our current season one, not the obstacle course one. I don't know, I still like the themes. I think it's fun for now. I don't know what I'll say in the next like 6 episodes, but currently I like it. But F, do you like it because there's order to it, or is it too chaotic? Is that why you don't like it? Like, why do you not like it? I'm just curious.
Uh, I just like to see something different. Like the block puzzle shows something different. Obstacle course, like there's a structure to it. So you have a
Mm.
part one, part two, part three kind of thing, and it's like it tests everything. So I like to see that sort of stuff.
Interesting. See, I knew this. I'm gonna keep asking you guys this because the obstacle course with block puzzle is the standard in present day. We get that almost every single challenge. So most
Yeah.
people ask for something different. So we'll see how many of these different things you prefer over that. I think I really liked the one in the mud because we just don't see people fighting anymore. I mean, I am part of me is like, ooh, like I'm worried someone's gonna get hurt, but I have the knowledge. I know if and when people will get hurt, so I guess that helps. Um,
Yeah, I
this
prefer
one,
it
I don't know.
too.
I think this specific the one with the battering ram, maybe I wanted like one more step to it. It felt pretty like a small challenge because there's only those like two things happening.
Yeah, I think probably just due to how strenuous it was, they wanted to just keep it at that.
But so we go to tribal council. It is this time between still Ashley, still in the chopping block, but now it's Dave who's in danger because of the multiple arguments, public arguments he's been with Ashley, and even like at tribal council, Sherea is like we talked about. She's yelling at Dave. Um, Dave does say something interesting. He kind of says, "Look, I think you guys. I welcome the constructive criticism. Like, tell me if that's how I'm acting. Like, I need to hear it. Like, that is technically what you want someone to say. Like, that's the attitude you want them to have. Um, and in fact, it ends up being everyone, all six people voting for Ashley, and one person, Ashley, voting for Dave. But a lot of the voting confessionals were essentially, I don't want to do this, but like that's what everyone else is doing. I mean, some people are very happy to do it. Like Dave obviously is happy to do it. Um, PG is happy to do it, but we lose Ashley. Um, Ashley doesn't play again in between 2007 and present day. Um, I do remember learning after the fact. Like I don't think I must have not watched this season live because I also big WWE fan. But like when I found out that she had been on a season, it was kind of a spoiler for me because I'm like, I feel like somehow this would have been in a storyline if she had done well. And lo and behold, she did not do well in terms of
Ah,
placement at the time when I was still watching SmackDown and Raw. But yeah, so we lose Ashley, and that brings us to our last episode, which was called
Well, I lost two hands and possibly a shoulder.
oh,
"Well, I lost two hands and possibly a shoulder." That is Courtney talking about her challenge performance. Um, all storylines basically continue into from the previous episode into this episode. But this is where we get the bad stuff from John Robert at the beginning of this episode. But storyline wise, that solidifies Todd and Courtney, who I don't think like Todd and Courtney aren't overtly in an alliance, but they are united against John Robert and James, since the two of them were talking. I guess let that be a lesson to you. If you're just like in the lake, you underestimate how far your voice carries. So don't just be gossiping about
yes,
people.
for sure. Oh, it was so bad. I mean, we know this episode started out with the most awkward the worst thing that we talked about already, but later on it goes into like them hearing the two Jean Robert and James talking in the water. Like I think they're collecting things or collecting, I don't know, shells or maybe clams. I don't know what they were collecting. They were collecting
Mhm.
something. And then there is Courtney and Todd trying to obtain husk for their fire, hearing all this, and they're basically just yelling out what they're doing, their plans. Like, we're gonna take this person now. We're not close to this person. I'm close to this person. And then it got this weird, awkward thing of like, oh, you like Courtney, and then it's just this awkward conversation to hear about you, and you can't like in the game, she can't be like, "I heard that, like, what the he" I wish she can do that, but I think for her game, she wouldn't and she shouldn't do that, and she didn't, I think she laughed it off, but I also you never when people laugh, it's like, is it uncomfortable laugh or is it just laugh? It's just nonetheless, this was so uncomfortable hearing 2 guys just talking like that. But hey, this allows them to learn about, hey, where their alliance is at because they're outwardly say who are they getting out. They're like,
Very
we're gonna
true.
take this person out. We're gonna take this person out. So no matter what you say to them in person, they know already, like, you're not gonna work with me. I know you aren't.
Yep. And the other tribe storyline is still Dave. He maybe is a little better question mark, but the new problem is that he's it seems like he's no longer bossing people around, but instead he's just doing all the work that he would have told somebody else to do. And even PG is like, well, do you want us to do some of the stuff? Because we want you rested, seeing as he did run out of energy in the last challenge, but he does not take kindly to that suggestion and continues to work as hard as he can. Which
But
is so interesting. Like
why?
you like the being lazy is usually what gets you in trouble, but this is the complete opposite. Like they want you to take a break. Funny enough.
He's like, nope, nope. He's locked in. He's not leaving this until it's done. But then it's like, you're not helping the tribe though, because like, as you said, he got tired out and had to be replaced because of it. It's like, you're not helping the tribe if you're not winning and you should stop and take a break. And then by not listening, it's like, uh.
Yep. Yep. Um so with that storyline in mind, we go to the reward challenge, which was for like blankets, pillows, a tarp. It was called Clear the Deck. This is when they're kind of on this floating platform on the water, and then it's another fight. You're trying to throw each other off of these platforms. And it's gonna be girls versus girls and guys versus guys. Um, very strangely, Dave decides to fight in the nude, which is
Why?
also problematic. Like that's not good.
No
Not
one
good at
Hey,
wants to see
all.
it.
winning strat. That's what I was saying. That not Erik, the other guy, Aaron. He got a face full of that. It's another challenge where you have to. There's some form of wrestling. You just have to. It's a test of strength. Knock the others off, and the last person remaining, that person's team wins. And it's split up between a guy's segment and a girl's segment. So it's what, like, first one to win 3 ends up taking it. And
Mhm.
so throughout every round, because it circles back between guys and girls, at no point does Dave pull his shorts back up. So it's that is another
And
thing
by the
that would
way,
not
he
fly in the modern era.
oh, no,
No.
actually, this I can tell you it didn't take, till season 39, but, um, you can't be the dude. I don't know exactly what season it finally happened, but that's just not allowed. Even if people ask you, no, you can't do that. Uh
Oh, did anybody ever do that and then Jeff is like, "No, put that back on," or something like that? Or they
uh,
probably cut that out?
never aired. I don't know if it maybe happened off air,
Oh, okay.
but probably not because once that rule is enacted, that's probably something they hear in the beginning. So, like,
Mm.
they like, no one's gonna try that. Um so in this challenge, the girls actually win. The girls of John Hu win all 3 of their contests, but the guys of Fei Long win their 2. But the 3 win it for John Hu. Also, um, despite the tribe winning, Dave's strategy did not earn them any wins, but that might have been because they had to face off against James on the other tribe.
Yeah,
Uh,
he
yeah.
was he was the last person standing both times.
Yeah, continue to build his resume as absolute challenge beast for James. So real quick, this challenge right here or obstacle course plus puzzle block puzzle.
You know what? For this one, I did like the strength challenge. I did like it. I liked it how it was out on the water too. So
Mhm.
just in terms of enjoying the variety of it, I did like this one.
I did as well. I like this one. I thought it was fun and it got intense. You know, I feel like the girls were more intense. I feel like with the guys it was like an easy like James is just going to be like kick everybody's booties, you know? Versus the girl ones, it was a one-sided in the end they always won the other team. I think it was who was winning that one? I think it was
The Zanhu.
the team. Yeah, I think it was Anu that was won that team, right? Yeah, they won. And it was great. I love that they were they were winning it, and who really carried was Sherea. Sherea was, like, one arm holding onto the pole, her leg was kicking other people, and then in the end, she literally grabbed onto someone and rolled out with them to take them out. I'm like, "Oh my god, that are you a wrestler? Like, how are you doing this?"
Well, even a nice move by PG to like jump out of the way of that too. Otherwise, like they
Yes.
both would have gotten.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Just goes to
It
show
was
you like the
strategic.
team component to it too, right? Like it's not just I'm pushing you out. It's that I trust that I have a person left. It's gonna be essentially I'm taking both of us out.
You know what? That's true. It is a very big team thing, and as we talked about it, they do talk about the both teams have different team dynamic, you know? We have, like, Fei Long's team, like, although they've been on it and winning and everything, they are not good, like, their team dynamic sucks compared to the other team who's been losing consistently and having to go to tribals.
it's funny because I feel like we criticized the team vibe of John Who like in the first two episodes.
Yeah, we did. I mean, chicken kinda I mean, they're still not great vibes, but I feel like compared to, Fei Long, I think it is different. I think it is not as bad.
Fair enough. So John Who they end up choosing to kidnap Leslie. So that's interesting because that's the person that Jaime had given the clue to is the person that was kidnapped. So I'd like to think that Jaime might have suggested to bring Leslie. Um, and what ends up happening is that uh, so Leslie has the same type of clue. You have to give an idle clue to someone on this tribe, and she decides to return the favor and give it to Jaime. But this time, now there's two clues. So now, in addition to it's in plain sight, it's also uh, it's don't waste your time looking down. It's like you should look up, essentially. Uh, Jaime says doesn't know what that could be yet, but unlike Leslie, she does not then like go give the clue to somebody else.
Which is smart.
Yeah, which I thought was better, and it's also good to note that that means that every time a clue pops up, like the person's gonna have all the clues. So you think the longer this goes, the more likely somebody's gonna realize where it is. Um, and that she stays with them all the way into the immunity challenge, which is called Blade Runner. So this is one at a time. Four different people from your tribe are gonna chop ropes, and then chop through like a final rope, which is gonna make these puzzle discs come down. And when all four people have done that, then the last two people take those puzzle discs, and you have to like rotate them around to figure out how to stack them on like a pole. Um, the story of this challenge is Courtney because it turns out she does not have the strength to be able to cut through any ropes. This was tough to watch.
Yeah, it was hard, and, I actually thought she was trying to, lose the challenge so they could, take out Jean Robert, and I'm like, "Slay." But I think, no, she truly had trouble cutting the wood with the machete, and it was a tough watch, and you could
Yeah.
see her frustrated, you know, she's looking at the other team, and she's like, "Oh my gosh," like, they're just way ahead of her.
Yeah, it gave the Zanhu tribe such a big lead that you thought, okay, immediately they're just gonna take it. They did eventually bounce back and make it a more competitive game. like just as they're getting to the final like puzzle part of the challenge. But unfortunately, that lead was just too big to overcome, and Zhan who ended up taking this one.
Their
Yeah,
first
it makes sense she might
win.
have. Yep, their first immunity win, and you might have thought that she had been throwing, but then later you see like bruises on her hands, it's like and cuts on her hands. Like, all right, she probably didn't want to throw the challenge. That, I mean, maybe she did, but it's unlikely
Yeah, it didn't
that
seem
she.
like it.
Um, and because of that loss, oh, real quick, this cutting and puzzle or obstacle course and block puzzle.
Obstacle course block puzzle. I didn't really like
Mm.
this one that much.
This one I will switch around a little bit. I do like the obstacle course block puzzle more. Just because I felt like it was just like them slashing, 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 and then slashing, slashing, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling that one as well. So I agree with you on this one. I like the OG, like not the OG, the now current obstacle course puzzle.
I personally agree. I also think it's similar to the last challenge. It also feels short. Like as you can see from the other tribe, like it's doing the same thing 4 times in a row that can potentially go pretty quickly, and then that one puzzle. So
Mm.
I
It
feel like
feels
I want
very
some
like
more length.
Yeah, it feels very condensed too, like very condensed in a short area, and it's good if they have like not I'm not saying that they were having it, but like if they were to have limited camera, limited angles, it's good to have challenges in a smaller area so they don't have to like have as many angles or movement going on, or they have less space or something.
Yep, yep, yep. So now it turns out the storyline for their first tribal council is obviously Courtney wants John Robert. And a couple people agree with her, like Leslie's on board with that. Um, Todd and Amanda seem to be on board with that. Although interestingly enough, like Todd is talking with Courtney and Leslie, and maybe even Denise. I don't know if Denise was there, but then Todd's like, okay, I'm just gonna go off and like, yeah, he just kind of leaves that conversation, and then the next time we see him is with only Amanda, and he asks what Amanda thinks, and she's also okay going for John Robert. But then the two of them talk to Aaron, and Aaron's not on board. I think Aaron is spooked that when Leslie came back, not only did she say she had a great time over there, but she also said that she told them stuff about their tribe and like who's liked and who's not liked, and specifically for Aaron that he's their leader. And Aaron didn't like that got revealed, and he's now concerned that Leslie, if given the chance, would join the other tribe or vote with them. So he wants Leslie, which Todd and Amanda do try to fight back a little bit on, but it seems like Aaron's case is strong enough because then like John Robert and James, they don't have really care either way necessarily, but they want either Leslie or Courtney. And when this all like adds up together, it ends up being 6 votes for Leslie, 2 votes for John Robert, which were Leslie and Courtney.
Goodbye, Mama Bear, Mama God lover. Um, yeah, I fear as much as I wanted I mean, Leslie was fine. I just don't think she was much of a key player at all. Even though she was given opportunities and advantages, I did not find anything crazy that she's done. So yeah, I mean, I think it was like, she's not the greatest when she like told everybody everything, both sides. She went over there and told them everything about their group and then went back and told everyone whatever she said. And that made like them not happy, being like Aaron being like, wow, thanks a lot for saying that. And it's like, ugh, yeah, that's awkward. So, yeah, goodbye, Leslie. I wish it was Jean Robert though. I want Jean Robert gone. I want him gone stat. I want him. Then that's it for now. James, because he was being weird this episode too. And was Aaron the pants
Yeah,
guy?
no. That's
Wait,
Dave,
no,
but
Dave.
Dave
Okay.
but Dave is on the other
Aaron
show.
Oh,
Aaron
Dave's
was
on
the
the other one.
guy who received the pants guy. We'll just say that.
Sorry. All right, Aaron can stay because I feel bad. I want Dave gone in the other team, in the other tribe.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is like enough people seem to want to vote out Jean Robert that they could have, but hey, maybe this is a perk of being perceived as a leader, but Aaron gets his way, ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, the complete irony in this is that Jaime selected Leslie as a means to just kind of help her out, pay her back for her giving her a potential immunity idol. And it ended up really like kind of biting her in the back. Leslie did make the mistake of trying to, you know, be too revealing about certain things, but in listening to what she said to the rest of the tribe when she got back was it didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. I felt like that was an overreaction on Aaron's part. And my takeaway was that, like, just like what the Zanhu tribe had, I agree with your take, Will, that whether it was Dave or whether it was Ashely, you cut one of those two just because they're clashing. They've sided with the person that they had designated leader, so you can kind of see why they took that approach. But I think if it was Ashely, things would have gotten a little bit easier on the tribe. They would still have complications, but at least the vibes would be better. I look at this Fei Long tribe, and it looks like the current toxic environment, a lot of it is stemming from Jean Robert. And, we blame James as well for being part of that conversation, but that was a conversation he was kind of roped into, rather than like he wasn't just coming out throwing accusations. He was even trying to defend Courtney at points, and it was really just Jean Robert who was like causing all of that. And I think that with that and like how he was making the girls uncomfortable, you you don't even know how big of a challenge threat he is. He's a tall guy, like so you give it to his stature and whatnot, but I think Survivor is more than just a physical game. So for me, what matters to me is we don't have a toxic environment when we go back to camp. I want everyone to have a good time, work together. We win or lose a challenge, we're in it together, right? We're in a good headspace. We play the game the best that we can. We did like take a look at the Zanhu tribe. Like they're physically the inferior team compared to Fei Long, but they won this challenge because they were in a better mental headspace. They weren't kind of obviously Courtney did cost them. That is a physical thing, but she also wasn't feeling great about what Jean Robert was saying. If you're going into a challenge and you're not mentally even in the challenge, it doesn't matter how physically imposing you are, you risk losing the challenge. So to me, I felt like Jean Robert should have been the priority out, but I don't see an issue with who they ended up taking out. They felt like it was someone who's weaker outside of just revealing too much. So if it helps strengthen up the team, they did what they probably felt was best. I just felt Jean Robert would have been the first to go. Then you start considering Courtney and Leslie.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Do either of you want to see Leslie again?
No.
Uh, yeah. I'm no religious person, but no. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I don't want to see her. I don't think she played much that well, so sorry, Leslie.
So with that, that brings us to the big moment. We need to talk about players who are playing well. So each of you, uh, big stakes. You had 3 episodes to build your opinions here. Uh, and as usual, you can pick 2 winner picks that you believe are gonna make it all the way. They don't need to be unique, so you could both agree on both of them if you really wanted to. Um, but I think we will go ladies first. So, Ange, who out of these remaining 13 people will you be backing?
Um, I think I'll go for my second pick because my first one was chicken who left. I would go for our not quote unquote not flight attendant, Todd. He's been playing a good social game, I feel. Although physically he is not like a James, but I think that he is building a good amount of social game, and he knows where the idol is. He's the only one in that crew right now that knows it. So I think he could do well there. So I'm gonna say him. Maybe. Yes, him.
Okay. Todd for Ange. F. Who of these 13 people will you be adding to your winners?
My original pick was Sherea. Hmm. I like to tend to split it up between both tribes. And honestly, I kind of agree with the Todd pick myself. I think like he's just playing the smartest game right now.
Mhm.
And he has a winning formula in that like he's being underestimated. Like he's not being involved in, like this was the first challenge he was involved in. The previous two challenges he was not even a part of because he's a small guy. That is kind of working to his benefit right now, I feel. And he also has an opportunity to learn about and find an idol that was never taken. So things are looking really good for Todd, and he's not on the hot seat anywhere. I mean, John Robert did throw his name out, but like I don't think John Robert is staying in the tribe long himself. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think I would probably also share that pick with Ange. I think Todd would be one of the people I would select.
Let's go. So do we
Okay.
get 2 picks?
Yeah. So now, but snake draft. So
Oh,
F,
okay.
pick again.
Off the top of my head, I would keep Sherea, but let me think about this for a second. So
On Fei Long, the remaining people are Denise, John Robert, Aaron, James, Courtney, and Amanda. On Zhan Hu, the remaining people are Dave, Peih-Gee, Erik, Sherea, Jaime, Frosti.
I'm gonna switch from Sherea. Kind of don't want. I'm gonna switch from Sherea to PG just because I think that we're seeing a little bit more of her actions, and my concern with Sherea currently, just 3 episodes in, is that we're just not seeing that much. That's the concern. PG is kind of taking more of an active role, which could put her under more fire, but I think there's less survivors, so more people are going to be eliminated quickly. You got to start worrying about that jury vote as sooner. So I want to pick someone who's actually doing stuff right now. And if for whatever reason Dave is eliminated, I think she's probably next in line to take that leadership role with a group that might be more receptive to her style.
I like it.
All right. So Todd and PG for F. Ange, who will you choose to join Todd?
I am also gonna go for another team, because I don't wanna risk, if they start going down, the higher chance I lose my people, so I'm gonna choose the sweet Jaime, because Jaime has the advantage of knowing the hint of where the idol is, so 1, she can get the idol, and 2, I think generally speaking, she has not had any fire or anything crazy with anybody. I think she's somebody that could skirt by, quiet for a bit, and yeah, I think she's considered sweet from everybody, so I think she can skirt by and just hang around for a bit.
All right. Very good. We'll see how well these three people together you guys pick do, or if they're the next three people that are going to be eliminated. Only time will tell. But that'll bring us to the end of our mega premiere episode. I am excited for both of you to experience everything that Survivor China has to offer. The good and the bad. We experienced both of those through these episodes. Um, and I just can't wait for you guys to see what's in store.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, let's get at it.
And just remember that whenever something crazy happens, we'll always have this sound clip available.
I love it. I need
See,
more sound clips available, so I'm excited.
so you have like a kid in a candy store now that I found the ability to do that.
I'm
Uh,
excited.
But all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Island Life. And tune in next time on our Survivor China experience as we react to episodes 4 and 5. But until then, and until we speak again, ciao.